As usual, my hair is gonna reflect my mental state. I feel like I'm not smart. I feel like I'm not smart enough to figure this out. Hi, my name is Lindy Jung, and welcome to my very first attempt at trying to follow a famous author's writing routine. I don't know if this comes across in the camera, but I feel so sweaty right now. Like, it has been weirdly hot, but also humid, which just isn't supposed to happen in California, at least not the southern part. So I just feel very sticky, and I'm not sure how much that is coming across right now. But just, you know, public service announcement, I'm very, very, very sweaty right now. So I've been wanting to do one of these for a while. A couple of really great people put out content like this, and I'm by no means the first person to come up with this, so let's get that out of the gate. I am shamelessly stealing someone else's idea. I always love watching these videos. I love learning about famous authors and their writing routines, and I wanted to try this out for myself, especially because I'm someone who is kind of allergic to routine. I figured, you know, who better to start off with than Donna Tartt, Queen of Dark Academia, or, you know, I guess founder or muse, or, you know, basically I just wanted to do a Donna Tartt writing routine vlog. I'm currently working on drafting / sort of revising the first half of my adult Dark Academia fantasy mods, and I figured, you know, who better to emulate than Donna Tartt herself. So let's break down the routine I'm going to be following. I sort of like pieced together my own version of her schedule based off of interviews I found on the internet, and just also sort of slightly accommodated it to fit my schedule for the 2 days. I'll be doing this across 2 days because I feel like what is the point of trying a routine if you don't do it for at least a little bit, and I can't do more than 2 days this week, so we're just gonna go for it. So in terms of her daily schedule, Donna Tartt says, I write for 3 hours in the morning. If it isn't going well, I'll stop and do something else, but if it is going well, I'll work until I'm tired. So for this, I'm going to eat breakfast tomorrow between like 7 and 8 a.m. and then get started at around 9 and write until 12. However, the interesting part about this writing routine is that Donna Tartt actually mostly writes by hand, it looks like, at least for her first drafts. So after my 3-hour free write period is up at 12, I'm going to break for lunch and then type up everything I've written into my computer. Other things to note are that Donna Tartt likes to work in quiet rooms with no interruptions, so I'll be holding myself up in my room. I might go out to the library because that's something that I've started to do lately, because staying inside my house all day was just like kind of making me really depressed and feel like every day was the same, and I need to like get out there for a little adventure once in a while, so I might do that. But as long as it's a quiet space with no interruptions, I think I'll be okay. She also writes in notebooks throughout the day, just like jotting down ideas, and I think that'll be really helpful too, so I'll just be carrying around a notebook as I go about my day. Honestly, my biggest concern at this point is that my hand will cramp. She doesn't have any word count goals or anything crazy like that. She's not like churning out 3 short stories a day or anything along those lines. It's mainly just like the handwriting thing. I haven't really handwritten that much since I was in university, but honestly I'm very interested in seeing how not having a computer in front of me, which is one of my main distractions throughout the day, is going to help me be more productive and focus on the writing itself. I'll have less resources, but I'll just be able to like tune out all that noise. I won't be constantly checking like Discord and social media and my email, etc. And oh my god, YouTube analytics, I check that so often. I think something's wrong with me, but whatever. So it'll be really interesting to see how my productivity shifts, because yeah, just like taking that distraction out. I'm probably going to look at my phone more. Okay, so that is it for the intro. I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow for the start of this writing challenge / routine, and I don't know, I hope it goes well. Okay, bye. Okay, good morning. It is officially day 1 of the Donna Tartt writing challenge vlog thing that I'm doing. It's almost 9, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And again, I will be writing entirely on paper with pen and pencil. And she also sort of like cuts things up and uses sticky notes, so I've got all the supplies I need because I am a stationery hoarder like every writer worth their salt. So I think the biggest challenges for me today are the fact that the manuscript I will be working on is one that is mostly sort of done, but also needs a lot of revision. So I'm sort of going to be rewriting chapters without looking at what I've already got down, if that makes sense, which will be challenging. I think I'm also going to go ahead, like sort of jump ahead and write chapters that haven't been written yet, like toward the end. I really need to figure out what's happening in the story before I get to that point. So basically it's like a balancing act of doing revisions without looking at the computer and, you know, writing new stuff. If it really just falls flat, I'm going to work on something different, like a short story or something. Basically, the goal is to write by hand from 9 to 12 today, and then eat lunch and type everything up in the afternoon, print out what I've written, look over that. I also actually do have to record some audio for Apparition Lit today for Esther Park, which is my debut short story, which came out for free on Apparition's website on the 17th and came out with their 23rd issue on the 15th. So I'm just going to record a reading of that so that there's a version of the story available for people who are visually impaired or just might want to listen. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I honestly, after editing that story, after it was like pretty much done, and once it was released, I was like, I never want to look at this again. So that'll definitely be a trip. I've never really read my writing out loud before, and I'm no audiobook narrator, I'll say that much. So that's what's on the agenda for today. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I pulled out like one of my old, mostly empty college roll notebooks from back when I was in college. So I'm gonna be writing in that. I also have been doing this weird thing where I've been writing down my notes and like revision outlines on scrap paper, so I have those next to me and I'm allowed to use those. And I'm just gonna be closing my laptop and putting it away, and we'll see. We'll see how that works for me. So let's go ahead and get started. It is once again so freaking just so hot, but it's a couple of hours into this like writing thing. I actually have not written a single word of actual like prose, but I've been doing my re-outlining on little note cards and just not looking at my computer except once or twice to check and see what I'd written already, and it's going pretty well. I feel, I don't know, I always end up re-outlining and it's always like a mess because I'm trying to rearrange scenes that I've already written or come up with, and some of the scenes I've written are honestly just not working. Oh shit. I think there's gonna be a lot of like tearing up to do, which sucks, but you know, that's the reality. I signed up for this by deciding to write this book and not outline it beforehand. Yeah, so I think I'm going to try to outline to the end of this book and then start to write a little bit, maybe like the last act or so, and then we'll see what happens. I'll update you guys again in a little bit. So you're probably wondering how my 3-hour writing session went. Not very well. I did actually outline quite a bit of what I needed to. I didn't finish, like hit the end of the book or the last act even, but there's a lot of note cards sitting on my desk right now, and I was trying to write out one of the scenes on paper in my little notebook, and for some reason, my writing quality is a lot worse when I'm writing by hand. I had never realized this before. My vocabulary is more limited, the sentence structure was feeling repetitive, and I just didn't like it. Like, I didn't like it. I don't know if it's just that I'm not used to it or like my brain is somehow communicating to my hand differently because I'm using a different utensil. It was so weird, and I just could not get into writing that way. Obviously, this is a roadblock for this particular type of video, and with Donna Tartt's writing routine, I think for tomorrow I'm gonna adjust it so that I am just typing into the computer for 3 hours. Another thing was today I failed at the no interruptions thing. There's just so much going on this morning. So tomorrow I'm definitely going to shift that up. So for the rest of this afternoon, I'm actually going to probably finish up my note cards, transcribe what little I was able to write into my computer and make the words a little nicer because they are so whack, and just basically keep working on my novel. This is like not a Donna Tartt writing routine video, but you know what? It's something. It's a writing vlog at the end of the day, and I'm just doing my best over here, all right, with my apparent inability to write by hand. But you know what? It is 12 o'clock. I have been very distracted by my phone, so it turns out the laptop isn't the problem, the phone might be. That is also good to know, I think. So I'm gonna go ahead and eat some lunch and then get back into the swing of things with writing. Hopefully I can be a little bit more productive for the rest of today. I think I'm just gonna have to put my phone away, which is weird. All right, I'll see you guys later. Maddie. Oh. As usual, my hair is gonna reflect my mental state. So it's 2:16. I have been trying to sort of like fix up my chapters based off of the note cards that I was writing during the first portion of the day. I feel like I'm going in circles. Like, I'm so frustrated with this book. I'm so frustrated with the order of events that's happening. Like, there's two major plot lines, and just struggling to get them to converge in a way that feels organic, in a way that feels character driven. It's just so, I don't know, like I feel like I'm not smart. I feel like I'm not smart enough to figure this out. And that is just so disheartening. I've been working on this book for so long. I know the idea is good. I know the concept's good. I just cannot, like I might not be skilled enough of a writer to pull this off at this point. This is my first adult book. I was writing like upper young adult fantasy for the most part. I've really only finished 2 books. I just, like, do I stop working on this and work on something else? I don't want to do that. I want to at least try to write to the end and then revise to make it better, but I feel like I just keep hitting these walls. And sorry, this is like such a downer update. I was not expecting to have this moment in like my fun little follow the schedule of a famous author writing vlog, but this is what's happening. I like being honest with you guys. It's just really giving me a lot of trouble, and I've been told by multiple people to just take a break and do something else. So my something else is I'm going to actually record the audio for Esther Park. So that'll be fun. I'm gonna do a little reading, and I don't know what I'm gonna do after that. God, just figuring out the plot threads has been so difficult, and I don't know how to unravel them. I truly just am at a loss, and like trying to talk it through with other people, which is usually my go-to way of unsticking plot threads, and just getting unstuck in general has like not been helping, because it's so complicated to explain at this point that I feel like I'm not able to get my point across, or like my actual issue across. Like I can't communicate that to anyone, even myself. So it's just very frustrating. But yeah, honestly, I'm always like, oh, you know, we'll get there. We'll just keep going and we'll get there. But I just feel like I've been doing this and going in circles for like months and months, and just not, like, the first act is okay now. It still has some like little things that need fixing, but the second act is just a disaster. I don't know. I keep like completely scrapping it and starting over and like rearranging things and doing so many drastic things, and it seems like there is no solution. But I'll look over my note cards again a little bit later today after I take a little bit of a mental break, because my brain is feeling like scrambled eggs right now for sure. But right now I'm just gonna record some audio. Bye. The Fall of Esther Park by Lynn D. Jung. Esther was famed for her shoulder-length, virgin black hair, usually kept in soft waves framing a heart-shaped face. Oh my god, okay, just finished recording my audio for Esther Park, which should be up at some point. I don't really know when it'll be uploaded, because I know they have to edit the audio a little bit, but I'm gonna send that in a couple days. That actually wasn't as bad as I thought. I was struggling to get like the pacing of reading out loud down a little bit. I figured since I do like videos and I've done a lot of public speaking, that would sort of translate, but it's definitely a completely different speaking skill set. Like, I do not pronounce my T's correctly because I am from California, and it really showed. But it wasn't as bad as I thought. I read it like 6 or 7 times. I thought I would be really like cringing at the story and feeling like it wasn't good, but I don't know, it's a pretty solid story. I wasn't that mad at it, but super glad I got at least one thing off my to-do list for the week, because man, this book is not booking. So I do have a little thing with a friend planned at 5-ish, so I'm gonna head out around then. Until then, I'm just gonna keep trying to write, do my best with it. Don't know how far I'll get, but I'm gonna go easy on myself. I do feel like reading through Esther and finagling that was a nice little break. That's it. I don't really have anything to like print out for today, so I'm not revising on paper so much as like revising in my document. I'm gonna also try to read, and I don't know, I feel like I haven't been reading very quality books lately. Books that really speak to me or feel like proper comps, or, you know, at least inspiration for moths. So I think that's also been affecting the quality of my work. Just everything has been affecting my quality of work. Like, this book is just fucking me up. Today was something. I'm gonna try this routine again tomorrow. I did like that I spent the first part of the day with no laptop in front of me. I think that was kind of helpful. There were definitely some pros and cons to it. I think I will also set aside my phone tomorrow to just like double up on that no screen thing. Yeah, we'll see how this second day of Donna Tarting along will go for me. That's gonna be it for today. If I get significant progress on mods, I'll let you guys know. I don't think so, but otherwise I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. Good morning. It is bright and early on Wednesday. It's almost 9. I've got my little setup here, my water. I do need to clean my desk, but my water, my tea, all the things that I need for the day. Eventually I will need food, but other than that, I am about to get started on today's leg of the Donna Tartt thing and just like be writing without my computer, but I wanted to actually talk a little bit because as you could probably tell, yesterday was not fun for me. Just like I've been in a general funk, but a lot of that has been from writing for the past like week or so. Sorry, I have the tiger stripes right now because of the blinds not fully blocking out the light, but I've definitely just been feeling the imposter syndrome about Esther Park, feeling like, I don't know, it's not, people will read it and think that I'm actually not good at writing or I don't know how to write, when obviously that is entirely subjective. People will either like it or not like it. It's whatever. And I put out the best story I could at the time, and I made it the best I could at the time, and that's just all I've got to do. And it's just a debut short story. Like, at the end of the day, who is paying attention to that except for like my friends and family who already have read my writing? Anyway, at the same time, I have felt this complex sort of miasma of feelings about this book, about how I feel like I am literally not good enough at writing to put out the version of this book that is in my head. At the end of the day, I want this book to be solid. I have queried with a much worse book than this and gotten an agent, and I think that this book could probably get an agent if it met the right person. I have to believe in this book even if it's not brilliant, you know, which I am not so vain as to consider myself like a brilliant literary mind or anything. I write fantasy and sci-fi, and not that those are lowbrow genres, but you know, I'm not N.K. Jemisin. I'm just writing my silly little stories. But for some reason, I felt this incredible, remarkable pressure to last, because in this industry, if you're anything less than one of those people who are unicorns who do like write bestsellers, it's really hard to stay in the industry. And my main goal is to continue writing for the rest of my life. Even if I'm not making a full living off of it, I want to be able to keep writing books and publishing them and have people read them. And so many people that I have known since I first started querying, first started making like traditional publishing connections, are leaving the industry. Authors, agents, editors, like, are gone because it is not a very sustainable industry and it is very easy to just fall off the face of the world. To me, that is deeply terrifying. It's also something that I have no business thinking about right now. Okay, we're taking a step back, we're taking a breather, and if you're feeling anything like this, like long-term career anxiety, I encourage you to do this with me. We're gonna just like take a deep breath and just focus on the words on the page in front of us. And we're going to do our best and just get that story out there, get it told, and that is gonna be my goal for today. So we're gonna go right back into writing in the notes. One thing that I forgot to mention yesterday is that I have been like sort of jotting down notes in a random miscellaneous notebook, which my friend JD actually gave me, and it's so cute. It's got mushrooms. And oh, I need to take my thumbnails. But other than that, we're going. That's all we can do. So, you know, it's okay. I think I'm gonna take a little breather this weekend, then get back into it. I do think a lot of the pressure has come from me trying to finish this book, the draft, by August, and also like get it query ready basically by fall, because I will be traveling and I think it'd be a lot to like actively be revising. And I basically want to have query letters to like send out while I'm traveling, because that is less time consuming than writing and revising. And it's also something where, oh, I can send it out and then like go to the beach for the day or go snorkeling and like forget. I think I'm gonna sort of take that time pressure off a little bit. It'll still be in the back of my mind because I do think that's a good goal for me to just, in general, be query ready by fall. Because I am drafting and revising sort of congruently, I think that'll make my revising process a lot shorter. And honestly, if I am still revising through like October, because I'm staying in one place from like September to October for like 3 weeks, and honestly probably not doing that much other than like doing social media stuff and writing. Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be fine. Like, it'll work out. I know that things usually work out, even if I'm not insanely pushing myself and like burning myself out like this. I think another element is that I just really want to be done, but you know what? It'll be done when it's done. She's done when she's done. Okay, so that's all. I will talk to you guys in a little bit. Okay, yeah, make yourself comfortable then. All right, it is sweaty again, so my hair's back in the bun. It's once again 12 o'clock. I have finished my handwriting for the day. I kind of got distracted toward the end and was like talking to friends on my laptop toward the tail end of that, but I had hit a really good point in my sort of re-outlining, weird proto-outlining process. You know what? Maybe I'm not a discovery drafter after all. I don't know. Who knows? But I was copying all of my note cards into this little notebook that I have, the mushroom one, and sort of like mapping out each part and each chapter and all the scenes contained in each chapter. And I was doing this thing where I was drawing arrows to make sure that each action had a logical precursor, like every action was like a consequence to someone's choice or some other action that had occurred before it. So there's like a logical flow to everything that happens. This helped so much, just like visually mapping it out like this with my hands. It was so helpful. And I'm actually now just mapping out like the final couple chapters. So I'm gonna finish that up after lunch. I'm super hungry and I honestly am just craving instant noodles, which never fucking happens. Yeah, today has been kind of a sleigh, honestly, at least so far. Like the morning has definitely been a sleigh. I am just like feeling a lot better about myself. I actually got some sort of exciting, not news, but like almost news, and I can't quite share it yet, but it just made me feel so much better about this book and how it's being perceived by other people other than myself and my traitorous, treacherous brain. Now that I have sent out the first act, I regretted it at first because I felt like I was jumping the gun a little bit, but it's been so nice to see that, yeah, there's things to fix. I knew that already. That's why I sent it out. But also, like, for the most part, people are really enjoying this. They think that it's polished and well written, which is like crazy. Like, it's just given me back that confidence and that idea that not everyone is going to see the flaws that I'm seeing. For example, when I look in the mirror, I see like all these flaws and no one else is going to notice like that, I don't know, my nose ring's a little asymmetrical that day, or that I have like a stray brow hair growing out of whatever. We spend so much time in our heads as writers, and we spend so much time, if you're writing a novel, a full-length novel, like months or years buried in this world, in the story, in these characters. You just get lost in it, I think, and it's very easy to lose yourself and to lose sight of the fact that, hey, you're actually writing something that's pretty good and entertaining and people like it. Even if you don't like it, if someone else gets something out of it, I think that is ultimately all we can ask for as writers. Personally, I am never going to be fully satisfied by anything I write. I just have to get to a point where either I can't work on it anymore or it's like, fine, by my baseline. But yeah, there's just, I think, like a lot of self-reflection that needs to be done right now. I've picked up Babel again. I'm going to read through that because that is one of my main comps to this book. But I actually haven't read the whole thing. I just kind of went based off of like vibes, which is not great, but you know, it's one of the more apt titles I've stumbled across, other than If We Were Villains, which is more apt because that one is more character focused. Moths is ultimately more character focused, I feel like, than Babel seems like it's going to be. But I'm very excited to read this one. I love the writing style. It's very dense and rich in that like old literature way, which I really like. It fits with the historical setting. It's just a very immersive, like well-rounded book. It's not just spitting out a story. It's considering, oh, here's how the language would read of this time. Here's how the dialogue would read. And here's like what historical elements are relevant to the people's lives. I don't know. It's just so, the foundation or the first chapter or so that I've read are just so well thought out. I really admire that sort of like intentional writing. I think I'm a fan. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I think that's how I'm going to sort of like refill my creative well. Just gonna map out the last couple of chapters because I'm feeling motivated. Then I'm going to have my instant noodle lunch because it's a little treat. That's the update for now, and I will update you guys at the end of today as I finish or start like writing in stuff again and revisiting my previously written chapters just to make sure that there's like a general sense of coherence. Not every detail needs to be down, but it needs to flow into what's happening next well. I think that's one of the main reasons why I need to have a good foundation for like the first act, especially before I finish writing the book, even if it's a messy draft, is that my stories when I write them are very much focused on the 3 C's, which I've mentioned in a video before. All of my scenes are heavily dependent on what has come before. So there's that sense that I need to lay out the context and establish the choices and then go into the consequences, and that flows from every scene to the next. Nothing is just like sort of happening randomly. I mean, sometimes it does, but for the most part it's all very much dependent on what came before. And I think that's why I struggle so much to not have a strong foundation, because if the context is lacking, if the choice doesn't actually have impact depending on the context, the consequences don't make sense, like it's just not gonna work for me. Okay, wait, I already said goodbye, so that is my update. I'm not gonna talk about this anymore, but I will see you guys in a little bit. Bye. Hi, and it is currently 8 p.m. on Wednesday. So I am finished with this challenge or routine. I don't even know what I would call it, honestly, but it's done. Once again, the hair is reflective of the mental state, but actually, I feel really good right now relative to how I was feeling toward the tail end of yesterday. I actually just finished writing/revising chapter 7. I don't even know where we're gonna draw the line anymore. I basically have chapters 1 through 6 and maybe 7 are good and solid and probably won't change that much. Chapters 8 through 20 are technically written in some capacity but need to be worked on. And then there's a whole 5th act that just doesn't have any words in it yet. Here's what I learned from this. First, I'm gonna talk through the elements of the challenge, which honestly were not much of a challenge. This was not that different from my usual routine right now as a full-time writer and unemployed person, except for the part where Donna Tartt just forgoes technology at the beginning of the day. Honestly, that was great for me, especially today. I forgot to mention this, but I had my phone on one of those productivity timers for most of the morning, which means that I was not checking my phone and looking through Instagram or whatever, all those distractions that were bothering the hell out of me yesterday. Normally when I use those productivity timers, they're iffy because I'll just be non-productive on my computer instead. Without the computer, without the phone, it was technology free, didn't have any music, didn't have nothing. And I was just writing and it was just me and my brain, and I couldn't look things up, but I kind of really liked it. I should probably do that more often because I think disconnecting from the internet, from my many distractions, and from the manuscript that is just a huge blobby mess right now just really helped me focus in on the story and the story beats that I want to hit and the outline. I might incorporate this into my writing routine a little bit more, not every day because I am an iPad kid, but just more often, especially when I'm in the outlining phase. Other than that, I don't know if I did this wrong or if I didn't do enough research into Donna Tartt's writing routine, but it really wasn't that intense, I think, because she's not very strict with herself on the number of hours she writes, etc. And it's really just that chunk of productivity in the morning followed by it'll get done eventually the rest of the day. Because I wasn't writing draft words, I was just really doing the outlining process in the morning. I didn't have much to type up in the afternoon/evening, which I think is where this sort of flopped. Because it flopped like that, I might do this again. No promises. Why does my art keep doing that? I definitely want to try some more intense and unhinged writing schedules. I have a couple lined up, but if you guys have any leads on those. Honestly, any writing schedule that involves drinking hard liquor I think would be really fun. I am of legal age, so I can do that, even though I look like a baby. I don't know why, I just really want to try that. All those old school writers are snorting a line of coke. I'm not gonna do that. Not that. Doing substances before writing, and I don't even know. It was a different time, but I think it'd be fun to try because I obviously do not have a big girl job, so it doesn't matter what I do to myself at this point. Again, not willing to really do drugs, but liquor, yeah, I can day drink. So now on to how this went for me. Obviously, I was able to finish my outline. It's such a weird line. I don't even know how to describe it. Today my friend asked oh, what draft of mods are you on? What number? And I was like, girl, I don't know. This is parts 2 through 5 outlined. I had this book split up into parts, it was naturally turning into 5 parts, but for some reason that didn't click into my head as, oh, this book follows 5-act structure. I think just because 3-act structure is what I'm most familiar with, it's the most simple framework and you can apply it to almost anything, but this really is 5-act structure. The story follows a 5-act structure, and I think really all of my books are going to more or less follow not 3-act structure from now on, which is kind of wild to think about. Monty's looking at me with intent. I'm scared. Yeah, so that was strange. I don't know why I didn't realize that before, but I was oh, I think 5-act structure gives you a little bit more room. That first act is meant to pretty much be all exposition and foundation laying, right, until you reach the inciting incident, which is what this book is. And because it doesn't really get into the inciting incident until literally the end of part 1, I was oh no, this is not a good mystery. Good murder mysteries start with the murder. And no, this is a literary leaning adult dark academia fantasy. It's really weird, it's out there, and it's probably going to be quite long. So this is interesting though, because I can see myself revising the young adult Korean mythological fantasy, owie, because I can see myself revising the young adult Korean mythological sort of fantasy that I wrote into an adult manuscript and restructuring it with 5-act structure because I think the second act of that book is its weakest. Enough about that. Let's keep it succinct here because I really need to shower. Holy shit. It is wash day. It is time for me to go. But yeah, I finished chapter 7, so I feel pretty good. Chapters 8 through 20, which encompasses all of part 2, part 3, part 4, those all need to probably be pretty much rewritten, which is a bummer. But again, like I was talking about earlier in this vlog, the time pressure is not real. It's something that I made up in my head. It's not real at all. I'm only doing this to myself, so I'm only hurting myself by doing this. But because there is a lot of groundwork laid, like it's not drafting from scratch necessarily, so at least it's not that. That's the, you know, the caveat there. That's the bright side. At this point, I don't really know how long this book is going to take me. I really don't think I'm gonna get a first finished, complete, all the words on the page draft done by the end of this month. It's already July 19th, for God's sakes, like there's no way. I am going on a trip at the beginning of August, or like the middle part of August. I'll like set a soft deadline for myself for like, oh, before I embark on that trip, and then I'll enjoy my little vacation, and it'll be my beta readers' problems, or my alpha readers, like the people who are allowed to see the not shitty, but rougher first draft. I'm thinking too far ahead. Honestly, I just need to buckle down and write this book. Sorry this vlog went so off the rails. I feel like I did not do this correctly. I definitely need to try this again with a different author's writing routine, but I hope you found this entertaining, and it's always nice to update you guys with what I'm doing and just like push myself to really focus on writing for a couple days. My attention has been sort of diminishing because I've been really frustrated with this project, but thank you so much for watching and bearing with me through this journey that I've gone through, this emotional roller coaster. I always want to be honest with you guys about writing, and it is often very not fun. Honestly, I think of myself as a pretty like emotionally solid person now, but writing, oh my god, it'll fuck me up every time. So thank you for bearing with me again, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.